Welcome to lesson number 22 of business accounting, and in this lesson we will learn about the different allocation methods on how to allocate your overheads. Now our agenda will be the reason for apportionment. So in other words, why do we need to distribute or apportion our overheads? Then different methods that we can use, and then I will give you a few examples. Now, what is the reason why we will allocate overheads to different centers? So when we have overheads that we cannot entirely allocate to one center or to one product, we will have to apportion that overheads to different centers then. So the apportionment is then basically the process of allocating overheads to different centers on a fair and reasonable basis. Now, what is a fair and reasonable basis? We will have to find a suitable basis on how to apportion the overheads. Now, these are only some examples. If we look at rent, rates and taxes, water and electricity, then we will use the floor area. So we will look at the total amount of rent or rates and taxes or water and electricity, and we will simply divide it by the floor area of the different departments. If we look at insurance cost or depreciation, then we will use the actual capital asset. So whether it's a printer or a manufacturing machine, we will then calculate the insurance and the depreciation on that machine or that piece of equipment. Then if we look at staff costs, such as staff welfare, then also fringe benefits, then we will look at the number of employees. Now, if we look at this example, we have a total rent expense of 50,000 Namibian dollar. And in this company, we have 3 departments called Department A, B, and C. And then I give you the square meters of Department A, B, and C. Now you will see Department A consists of 100 square meters, that's the area, Department B of 200, and Department C of 700. So now I need to take this rent expense of 50,000 and divide it into the different departments. Now you will remember that we that we decided we will take the square meters or the floor area to then apportion a rent expense. So how do we start with this? We are now saying that we have 100 plus 200 plus 700 square meters, and if we add it up, our total area is then, and you can do the calculation, our total area will be 1,000 square meter. So in other words, our total rent expense of 50,000 must be divided into 1,000 square meter. So I will write then my total expense is then 50,000, and that will be for 1,000 square meter. All right, and then I will say my total expense per square meter is then $50. So in other words, my rent expense per square meter is $50. So now it becomes easier, because now we can say for 100 square meters, I will simply multiply the 100 with a $50, because $50 is for 1 square meter. So let's quickly do that. So that one will be times $50, and we will do the same with Department B, also multiply with $50, and then also the same for Department C, multiply with $50. And let's quickly do this calculation. So we have 100 times 50. So I will allocate 5,000 Namibian dollar to Department A. And for Department B, I will allocate 10,000 Namibian dollar. And then the remaining amount, it's 700 times 50. I will allocate the 20,000 towards Department C. So if I add up this total allocation, we can quickly add up this total allocation, and then you will see it is 50,000. All right, so 50,000 is then allocated to Department A for 5,000, Department B 10,000, Department C 35,000. So this is how you will allocate a rent expense. You will usually use your floor area. If we look at example number 2, we have a staff welfare expense of 10,000 Namibian dollar, and we have a staff complement of 100 employees. Now, a staff canteen is basically a cafeteria where the staff can go and they can have meals at a very affordable fee or even for free. So a fair method of distribution can be to look at the number of employees. So we are saying the company spent or had a total cost of 10,000 Namibian dollar then as a staff welfare for 100 employees. So this will be the way how to allocate staff welfare. Now, why is it important to look at the number of employees? Because remember, these employees can work in different departments. So let's say 40 of these employees work in Department A. We will have to allocate the staff then for 40 employees to Department A, and then the same to Department B and C. If we do this calculation, then you will see the company basically spent $100 then per month on every employee. And now you can go and sit and you can now determine how many employees are there in the different departments to then allocate the staff canteen or the staff welfare to the different departments. If we look at example number 3, we have James. He's the factory supervisor and he earned 20,000 for the month. Now, James supervised the manufacturing process of Department A and B. Now, Department A had a total output of 100 units and Department B had a total output of 300 units. So we will now take James's salary and we will divide it into Department A and B. So how will we do that? Let's quickly start. All right, so we had a total expense of 20,000, and this total expense needs to be divided into Department A and Department B. So let's see what was the total output of Department A and B, and we can see it's 100 units plus 300 units. So in other words, I will write there 100 plus 300 equals 400 units. All right, so his salary of 20,000 relates then to 400 units. So if I take 20,000 divided by 400 units, I will get, and let me quickly do the calculation, I will get $50 per unit. So now I can say how much of this 20,000 salary will go to Department A and how much will go to Department B. So Department A had 100 units, so it's 100 times 50, and that equals then 50. That equals then 5,000. Department B had a total of 300 units times 50 equals then 15,000. All right, there in total I have the 20,000, and I just allocated the total salary of 20,000 into Department A and B. In lesson 23, we will then look at the allocation based on production units, labor hours, machine hours, direct material cost, and prime cost.